Welcome to the Business Spotlight. I am so excited to have with me, that's your host, Elaine Walsh-McGrath, the fabulous Anita Marshall, who is a soul alignment and life purpose coach. Welcome to the Business Spotlight, Anita.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. The whole point of the Business Spotlight is to help people out there who are watching who are either in the middle of working 9 to 5 or 8:30 to 6:30 with no lunch break and have a side hustle that they really want to make come to life, or people who are in business and it's a little bit lonely and they need inspiration and they just need to keep going. I want to inspire you. I want to inspire you to keep going, to take action, and to grow your visibility. And so I speak to other businesses that are a little bit, if you don't mind me saying, unusual, like my own, like your business. It's different from going to drive down the motorway and or park on the motorway and go into an office and deliver a service. It is different. And I just want to show people out there that this is possible for you if it's something that you want. So today I'm speaking to the beautiful and talented Anita Marshall. And so just start with my first questions as I put your business under the spotlight so it can shine. And ask you, Anita, like, what do you do?
Okay, so interesting question because I'm often the coach that people don't realize they need because I do specialize in soul alignment and life purpose. I'm also trained as a soul plan teacher and soul transformation therapist. But I'm all about is helping people to connect with their purpose and to reclaim their energy, because if we're out of alignment, our energy is being wasted in the wrong direction, and that can take us down a whole route of health issues and things. So I'm about helping people get back on track, recognize what they're here to do, and really shine in the world, because that's what's going to make a difference. That is how we change the world, by one person at a time. And if we can start with ourselves, it ripples out.
Oh, amazing. And tell me why did you start your business? How did you land here?
Okay, so my own journey was I was working in corporate IT, high level job, high level status, had it all, other than I didn't feel fulfilled. And every day started to feel like I was on a treadmill or walking through treacle. And it became a real battle of, and really hard work. And eventually my health took a tumble, and I ended up having what was called a TIA, which is a trans-ischemic attack, which is a warning sign that a stroke could happen if I continued. So it was major. I kept pushing and pushing. But that was my wake up. That was absolutely my wake up call. I now recognize that was burnout. I was burnt out. At the time, I was just in the hard work and kind of health issues. But I had burnt out, and it was my wake up, and I ended up resigning from that job. For me, I took a slightly scenic route to here because I went and did 16 months of travel around India and Asia, which got me into a beautiful holistic and spiritual way of being. And then I came back and trained as a spiritual counselor and a spiritual life coach. And through that process, that's taken me to where I am now. So, and it was because while I was on the travels, everybody kept saying to me, I don't know what to do with my life. And I could see from talking to them to connecting with them, and I could really feel what they would be very good at. And so the little breadcrumb trail was there, and then it was like this course came up, trained, and it's like everything unfolded, and here I am now, taking it forward through in that purpose. way.
Brilliant. And tell me, what type of client or business do you work with?
So I a lot of my clients are business owners, so they are in business. Usually with small businesses, they're quite often their own, sole traders, solopreneurs, whatever you want to call them. But also people who are still in the 9 to 5. It's showing up, often it's showing up for them as niggly health issues, exhaustion, tiredness, and it's a little bit undefined, but but underlying that is also that feeling that something's just not quite right. They'll often be questioning, what's wrong with me? Why can't I be like others? They seem to be getting on with it, and it's working for them. Why isn't it working for me? So whether that's in your own business or whether you're, in employed business, there's something niggling away there, and there's usually the health niggles, the tiredness, the fatigue. Sometimes it's showing up as anxiety. All of those little things. It might not be like really crazily driving you and you're not recognizing it, because we don't want to get to that point, because that's where I ended up, literally collapsed on the floor in an ambulance in London is not where I want, you don't want to get to. So I want to get to people who are before there and things. But yes, so often, as I say, it is business owners because there isn't that extra support. There isn't there isn't an HR, there isn't a somebody kind of trying to look after their welfare. They're responsible for it, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. When you're doing it for yourself, you just can't see the wood for the trees, so to speak. So yes.
Yeah, fascinating. And tell me, when they work with you, what do they love about? Do they so do you know, what do they say that they love about working with you?
I think they love the space that I provide. It's a safe, non-judgment space. They really get to explore what's going on for them. And they say I have that real ability to shine that little light of awareness and bring it to the surface, the thing that they weren't seeing and recognizing that was, driving them down the wrong route or whatever. They like that space, that it just feels very nurturing, and it's what they need. It's part of their support team to really get them recognizing it, and then holding that space and having somebody there to kind of support them on that journey to move it forward, to transform it from the problem into a solution, to take it forward. So that is what they really like, that space, I think, is what most people say.
Yeah, and I can imagine that because, well, I've worked with you and I think you're wonderful. But quite often many business people, as they grow, are trying to, um, you know, figure things out, and they might go to different coaches or mentors. And quite often, what other coaches and mentors draw on is their experience, and that's what they coach. But if what I enjoyed about working with you is that you don't you didn't tell me what I should do based on your experience. You lean into the experience and the kind of makeup of the person who's sitting in front of you and help them to draw on their insights from the inside, which is a very different experience. And obviously, I've gone through feeling exhausted as well. And yeah, and because you're juggling so much, and if you just simplify things and lean into doing what you're supposed to do based on your inner makeup, however you want to call it,
Yeah.
um, like your nurture, your nature, then like life is so much easier because you're not fighting a battle with yourself. to perform or to make money, to grow your business. You're going with your own natural ability, and it just makes life so much easier, you know? So
Absolutely. It's like being aligned with yourself, but nobody can tell you who you are. What you have to have is the space to explore who you are, bring out that inner wisdom, that I call it soul self, but it's your inner self, your inner wisdom, your intuition, however you want to name it, it doesn't really matter. But the soul self, that part that's inside, that's what needs to be brought out and aligned in your outer world. Because if they're out of alignment, it's a bit, I always say it's a bit like carrying a billboard, you know, those massive big billboards around. If you are carrying one of those around and it's, you know, it's like, oh yes, I'm like this, it's like putting up this present, and you can only do that for so long. It's so much effort if that's what you're putting on the outside. But if you're actually just your inner self coming out, you're not carrying anything else, you're just bringing out your own inner self, your own inner expression. It's not hard work, you're not carrying a weight, it's just natural flow. And that's what we want in business. That's what keeps you from burnout. If you can be in natural flow, natural alignment, then everything falls into place. It's when we deviate from that, we start to carry the extra baggage, whether that's that billboard or whatever. So yeah.
and so what is there a common issue that crops up with your clients?
So I think quite often they especially in their business, they're usually going, this is just becoming really hard work, you know, and it's not yielding the results. I'm not getting the results for the hard work. And yeah, it might be that in the past it's worked for them, but we do evolve and grow. So we need to recognize that we also evolve and grow. So as we evolve and grow, what used to work may stop working. But if we carry on trying to plug down that wrong route, we're just hitting brick walls. We're just blocked and it just feels stuck. So then that becomes exhausting. It becomes tiring. That shows up as that niggly fatigue and exhaustion. And also we start to get a little bit stressed and anxious. It's like, it's not working. Why is it not working? And then we push harder. We get into a push energy and we don't kind of come back to ourselves, tune back in. And that's what I kind of help do, is like get you back to where you are, tuning in, and then seeing where the course correction needs to be. Where do you need to go to be back in alignment to make it easy? Because soul alignment is about ease and flow and joy. And if your business is not ticking those boxes, there is an adjustment that's needed, really. That is that's it. So yeah, that's where I'd say they'll be showing up. The body will be showing the signs, and it will be, the body can be literally quite literal about how it shows up. You know, you might lose your voice because you're not speaking your truth. I think, that's it. That's a common one. So that's quite common. We lose our voice. I recently did some work with you, and I suddenly became quite shaky and I just needed to re-clarify some of my message, which was the beautiful work I did with you. But what showed up in my body was that I suddenly lost my own voice. I suddenly started I got body shakes. My body was literally, I was shaking what I was trying to communicate, and suddenly my body reflected it, because everything happens in the energy field. And the more we step, this is kind of going into the spiritual sense, but when we're really in that kind of alignment, we're really close to our unity state, our light state. The more we move away, our vibrational energy starts to shift away. so our energy starts becoming discordant, creates those imbalances. Everything in our energy field then moves into our emotional field and then into our physical field. So when it shows up in our physical field, we've ignored the emotions, and we've been ignoring the emotional side, and it's now showing up in the physical. But how many people have that shoulder pain? The shoulder pain. They can often be taking the weight of the world, the burdens. It'll be, as I say, we just get some literal physical signs that can be really indicating what's going off. So we need to start listening.
Fascinating. That is fascinating. And so I was going to ask you, what part of your business do you enjoy the most?
I love it when I see my clients moving into the transformational stage. They're transforming their difficulty into a solution that works for them. And I like it when they're coming into their empowered state, because it's not about me telling them what to do. I'm helping them to move into their empowered so they can go forward doing it for themselves. Once they've got this in place, it's like, yeah, and they can keep making their adjustments and recognizing it. So that I love seeing my clients move in. And so my biggest success is when they say, yes, I can do this for I can see it, and they start making those alignment choices really aligned. So that is what really empowers me, really excites me. And seeing them also going out and making a difference in the world, because when they start using their gifts, when they start using their soul gifts, when they start using, they're aligned and they're bringing that out into the world, that is making a difference into the world. And that's what I call spiritual. So that is one of the things people will say is, oh, I'm not spiritual. But spiritual is, to me, spiritual is when we move away from being focused on I and, how does this work for me instead? And we start to look at this aspect of how do I make a difference in the world? That I love that. I love that, because every time one more person goes out and really uses their gifts, they're making a difference. They're lifting the vibrations. They're making a positive impact on the world. And that makes a difference. It ripples out, because that person that you've touched will go on and touch other lives. And it just gets wider and wider and wider. So the more people that can be in alignment, more people who can be using their gifts, that really lights me up. That is what I'm about. I want that for the world. I want that for people. I want it so much.
Brilliant. Honestly, it's so inspiring. So speaking of inspiration, let's change tact a little bit. I'd love to hear about, like, from a business perspective, as a business owner, who do you look to? Who inspires you?
So obviously I follow a lot of the spiritual people. There's actually one of the people who've inspired me initially is, I'm going to just grab this, was Louise Hay. So
Ah, yes.
Louise Hay was one of my, because when I was in burnout and things, this was one of the books I grabbed, and it took me forward into that aspect. And she absolutely, I think, kind of nailed it in that, that healing your body and things. But then she made a, beautiful business out of it. Hay House Publishing. And
Yeah.
how many, when she moved through and did that, how many lives did she impact? Because all those people who have published through her publishing house, and how many lives has that touched? So, yeah.
Yeah. It's so
So
true. We don't think about that. And I just, well, obviously my journey. But we can do good with our talents, and that is a very commercial venture. And good. Good that it is commercial. Isn't it a great message to share with people that you can do good? As my background is in advertising, and quite often I would hear, "Oh, they're really nice. They're not going to go anywhere. Oh, they're such nice people. They're not, you can't be nice in business." Actually, thank you, Louise Hay. Yes, you can. It's such a good point, Anita. I love that. That is such a great point. Tell me,
Yeah, I was just going to
uh,
say, when you're aligned with what you do and what you're good at, the universe supports you. Things fall in and it all falls into place. So it's where, if that isn't happening, it can be a sign of that misalignment as well. She went with that, and she went with her gifts, her purpose, and we can see that what an impact that made.
like huge, huge, and still making an impact, which is crazy and great. Um, Tell me, so that's somebody who has inspired you. Now, maybe let's help you inspire other people. Like if and it can be any business, but what advice would you give to a new business, in terms of like increasing their visibility? I'm putting you under the spotlight now, but how would you say, if you want to take your business to the next level, or you need to in an aligned way, so maybe that's how you might come at it. You need to put yourself out there. These are the things that I would think about.
So I think you absolutely said it there. Stay aligned. Don't follow the shoulds, you should, and all the external. Stay true to you, your energy expression. Don't go against that. And the more you show up as yourself, your true self, your authentic self, that is your power. That is the gifts. That's your energy. So if you, because this is what I often see, is things like, sensitive souls, who empaths, who are maybe more introverted in nature, they follow the shoulds, oh, I should, and they go against their energy expression, they go against themselves, and then it's carrying that billboard. We're carrying this billboard. So always, is this aligned to who I am? And so, yeah, that would be my biggest thing, is stay true to your values, your alignment, keep your boundaries around that. Boundary leakage is a big one. We get into our people pleasers and and we might leak a little bit and go over our boundaries and let people overstep them and go against ourselves and our values, our own judgments. And again, it's all pulling energy away from us. And ultimately, your business should be refueling you. Yes, we put effort into it. Not saying it's not, you don't work hard or whatever, but there is a difference between working, and there's a difference between it being hard work and you not getting anything. When you're aligned, you get a beautiful refuel. It's like, yeah, you come away and you think, right, I've worked hard. I might have worked hard, but I'm like, oh, I'm energized, I'm buzzing, I'm ready. And it's that refuel, that is alignment. You get a refuel. So, and that only happens when you stay true to yourself.
Wonderful, great advice. What's the best advice you received in business?
So, I think, oh, yeah, I have received lots of advice, but and things, but it's just it's like keep checking in, and keep checking in with yourself as well. and recognizing that you do evolve. That I think, that is the important thing is, we do, businesses evolve, you evolve. And so it is kind of keeping that things will change and be willing to accept change, not resist it, because it's very easy to, because it becomes safe, playing it safe. I'll play it safe. So when we play it, if we keep playing it safe and keep doing it the same way, it's like we slowly start to move off, we slowly start to move off where we are meant to be. So spending that time, I think the biggest thing I learned as a business owner was to journal. To journal was, I resisted journaling in the beginning. I was like, no. But having that, writing it down, seeing it, and moving it from a headspace into a tangible visual thing, that allowed me to keep doing the check-ins with myself.
Brilliant. Tell me, how do you promote your business?
So I am on LinkedIn. Thank you to you. Yes. So, and I'm finding that really works. I like networking. So I like networking. I think there's a lot of power. When it comes to my soul plan, so I've looked at my, in my own soul plan, I can use, so soul plan is a energy system of life purpose guidance, but it holds lots of information in there. And one of my energies is about groups. So it took me a while to realize that I needed networking because and that's why I do like LinkedIn now. I've swapped over recently to LinkedIn because it is much more of that networking and connection. And that is ultimately my soul destiny energy. That is that connection. So by looking at my soul plan, when I looked at my soul plan, I was like, that's why, that seems hard work. But as soon as I do networking, it's like, this is it. And as I say, you brought me beautifully to LinkedIn because I'd resisted it and things, but now I've found like, wow, this is brilliant. This is like that networking. It's a little bit like the offline version of the networking where we go to the groups and we have our chats and connection there, but it's like that kind of side version of that networking. So they're my two ways that I really love. They're most
Yeah, like I have to say, you know what I think on this, but like I just feel once if you are networking at all, you've got to be on LinkedIn because the first thing people will do is like, oh, even if it's in person networking, they'll be like, oh, I don't have a card, oh no. And then if you can go and open your QR code on LinkedIn or like even take a picture of it if the Wi-Fi is bad wherever you're networking and just go, hey, let's just connect, let's connect and I can follow up with you afterwards. It's just an extension of the meeting, so it just
yeah.
makes so much sense. But anyway, I won't digress.
Go down the rabbit hole, which is that was my other thing that I was resisting when it came to social media was that when I went onto something like one of the other
Yeah.
platforms, I would go down I'd go down the rabbit hole, because there's other things that direct your attention and the shiny objects and you're pulled here, there and everywhere, which again is another energy leakage. Our attention is being defocused and scattered, whereas that was the other thing I've discovered with LinkedIn is that I can stay focused, I stay on track, and and as I say, it is that connection, like an extension of the networking.
Yeah, it really is. So talk to me about the next year. What's the dream? What are you aiming for in your business in the next year?
So I am planning on taking my Sacred Re-Energize program which is a program that I've been running one-to-one, and I have run it once as a group program. It's taking that through to being a group program run on a regular basis, and with people able to hop in at any time as well. So Sacred Re-Energize is actually based on my own journey, and it's a set of tools and healing that takes you from from that exhausted state and into a purposeful state. So it's an 8-step, 8-week framework. And it is a framework. It's a framework that blends in with life naturally. So it's not just, you don't just do it and that's it. It's an ongoing framework that you apply to life to take you through. And it's all those tools that you need to really stop that de-energized state and really connect with who you are. So it is about, reconnection with yourself and taking you through. And I do bring in some beautiful healing things in there. So you'll find all my healing modalities, whether that's soul transformation, the Atlantean paddles, soul plan, all of that is blended in. But the main thing about it is that it empowers the people who go through it to really get that oxygen mask on, because we need that oxygen mask on, create those strong foundations, reconnect with yourself, and then be able to move forward purposefully in alignment.
Brilliant.
So I want that as a group program so it can touch more lives. It's available one-to-one at the moment, and I work one-to-one with people with it, and it's really powerful. But I want that to go into group and touch more people. So
great. So that brings me nearly to the end of our chat. And I'm going to ask you, well, you've kind of told me, but let's be specific. How can people work with you?
Okay, so obviously I'm a coach. They can work with me one-to-one. So that is my primary, because that's where I can really personalize it. But I do have a couple of group programs, one coming up, and there's some of the other tools like Soul Plan Training, which is a group training program that really helps connect with purpose, which you can use for yourself and for others. But yes, so it's a case of I'm growing and evolving so I can touch more lives. I recognize that, and I know that's happening. But yeah, they can reach me through my website, and you can find out all about me, my journey, and the tools and ways of working with me there. Lots of people love soul transformation therapy as well. So they're my power and go-tos. But yes, the coaching is my most powerful way to work.
Brilliant. And so I'm going to put the links to your website here, and the website address. What is the website address?
So it's AnitaDMarshall.com.
Perfect. AnitaDMarshall.com. Well, Anita D Marshall, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Business Spotlight today. I hope that you've either inspired businesses to think about their passion and whether they are aligned, or maybe work with you so that they can get themselves into alignment. So thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much. Bye.